All right, and we are live. Happy, what is it, Wednesday?
Yeah.
I don't keep track. I don't keep track. I had some fun, exciting stories to tell about Valeria, but but I think that we're going to skip that today because we have quite a few news stories to cover. Busy news day. It doesn't seem like it, but we've dug in and we've found some fun, exciting. What's happening here? What do we get? We got problems with the microphone. We
Not
good?
not yet.
As
Think
usual, the least professional show on YouTube. And I would also like to say, or no, I don't know, I forgot. But yeah, okay. So she's all set up. And all right, do you want to just jump into the first story?
Yeah.
All right, everybody good? Everybody can hear me? Happy St. Patrick's Day. Is it St. Patrick's Day already?
That's right.
Oh my goodness! Happy St. Patrick's Day. I forgot to pinch Valeria earlier.
Oh, and I'm wearing green.
Is that green? It looks kind of like a blue, like a greenish blue.
Between.
All right. I'll take your word for it. You don't have to be pinched. But I do. uh, all right. Let's just get straight into the news. What's the first story, darling?
First story. Biden's weird manipulated video confuses everyone.
Yeah. Did you guys see this? This is like the weirdest. So Biden did this video. It's making the rounds on.
Intro.
Okay.
That's not me. Somebody mentioned it.
All right, intro. Let's do the intro, guys. Here we go. Toxic masculinity. All right, there's probably an echo there because I forgot to turn my mic off. But anyway, all right. So apparently, well, not apparently. There's a video that's been making the rounds on. I got very little sleep again. That has been making the rounds on Twitter. And it's just really weird because it's obviously been manipulated, presumably by somebody in the Biden administration. And it doesn't make any sense as to why. There doesn't seem to be a good motive for it. So let's go ahead and just quickly have a look at this video so you guys can see what we're talking about here. I'm not gonna put the audio on because the audio doesn't really matter. But I don't know if you guys can see this. So you have these mics like up there next to Joe Biden, right? But his hand is like going over the mic, and it should be going behind the mic. They have those big wind screens on them. It doesn't make any sense. It's really weird. It's like, okay, it's as if they had footage of the mics and they had footage of Biden, and they wanted it to like look more like he was closer to the reporters or something like that. But it's clearly that the mics are superimposed. People were saying that Biden was superimposed or something, and I couldn't quite tell at first because it's a very low quality video. But on closer inspection, I realized, well, it's the mics. The mics have been superimposed. It doesn't make any sense. I'm so confused. Maybe you guys can shed light on this mystery, but it's obvious they manipulated this video in some way, and they obviously had a reason. I don't know. What do you think? You have a theory, Valeria?
For me, I mean, I saw this video this morning. I thought it was a joke, like a Photoshop mics.
But, well, you can't really see it when I have my big face there. Let me move me out of the way. Actually, we're right in the wrong places when you play this. Let's see. Can we just... I'm just going to do this. Boom. All right, now you can... Oh, I got to... Let's see, fit to screen. There you go. So now you can see it a lot better. So you see, it doesn't make any sense. So you thought it was somebody else joking.
It's just a joke, yeah.
But it doesn't. It's not funny. There's nothing funny about it. There's nothing that makes Joe Biden look better. There's nothing that makes Joe Biden look bad. It doesn't make any sense to superimpose those mics. I mean, it might have just been some kind of like innocent thing where they thought, oh, it's unclear that he's talking to reporters, so let's put these mics in there. It might have been something totally innocent like that. Just somebody just like, oh, this creates context. This allows people to understand that he's speaking to reporters. But the fact that they messed it up, the fact that they made it look so bad, they superimposed this, they manipulated the video so poorly, it just makes people wonder, like, what the hell's going on. It seems somehow sinister, I guess, because it's a politician and it's manipulated video. It seems like there's something sinister there. I don't know if there is. I don't see what's.
I don't know, honestly.
I don't know the motivation. I don't know the intention. Anyway, so I thought we'd start with that. And I have nothing to say about it other than I am so confused. I am so confused.
Do you want to read Super Chat? Because I think you need to read that.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let me look. Let's see here. The Uncanny X-Man says, good to see you, my friends. Greetings from Scotland, from your favorite German ex-gay, ex-porn star. Hey, Mr. Leather. Hey, good to see you, brother. You look strange in your picture. What is that?
That's why I didn't recognize him. I was
you
like,
got sunglasses and a beard. I don't know what's happening. I mean, I know you have a beard, but that doesn't usually look like that. I don't know what's happening.
Well, I can say that he looks better in real life.
True that. Yeah. This is a good friend of mine. I don't know if he wants me saying his name in public, but I don't know if you want me to associate you with my amazing channel. Let's see here. All right, so shall we move on to the next story? I mean, you guys probably have ideas about what's going on there, what the intention is, what the motivation is, but we just don't know. It's a mystery, guys. It's a mystery.
Next story?
Yeah. Let's do it. Next story.
COVID may be Wuhan lab bioweapon?
And this is why I have her read the news, so that she can mess it up. All right, well, let's have a look here. Hold on, let me...
Can you tell me how to pronounce this? Bioweapon? Bioweapon accident?
Let me just read the original headline here on Fox. It says, former top State Department investigator says COVID-19 outbreak may have resulted from bioweapons research accident.
Well, I think we knew this a year ago.
Well, but here's the thing. So, yeah, there's always been speculation about this, but this guy, according to this article, this guy seems like one of the people that you think, okay, this guy's an expert. This guy's done the research. He's involved in this sort of thing. So he's a much better. He's somebody that you would, that would know about this. He's somebody that would know about this kind of thing. And so it adds some validity to this, because I think before, previously this has just been speculation, or it's mostly been speculation by most people, although you have had, prominent people mention it and talk about it as a possibility. But for somebody like this to talk about it, it adds a lot of validity to this theory. So let's read a little bit of this. It says, as top U.S. officials prepare to meet their Chinese counterparts for the first face-to-face meeting during the Biden administration, the State Department's former lead investigator who oversaw the task force into the COVID-19 virus origin tells Fox News that he not only believes that the virus escaped from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, but that it may have been the result of research that the Chinese military, or People's Liberation Army, was doing on a bioweapon. The Wuhan Institute of Virology is not the National Institute of Health, David Asher, now a senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, told Fox News in an exclusive interview. It was operating a secret classified program, in my view, and, I'm just one person. My view is it was a biological weapons program. Asher has long been a follow-the-money guy who has worked on some of the most classified intelligence investigations for the State Department and Treasury, both under Democrat and Republican administrations. He led the team that uncovered the International Nuclear Procurement Network run by the father of Pakistan's nuclear program, A.Q. Khan. I didn't know that. And uncovered key parts of North Korea's secret uranium enrichment. He believes the Chinese Communist Party has been involved in a massive cover-up during the past 14 months. I mean, this guy is a legit guy. I mean, it's hard to explain, when you read all of these, his resume out, it makes a lot more sense about why him in particular, his belief in this theory gives it so much validity. it's one of those things where you can't just say this guy's an expert. He knows what he's talking about. Running through his resume, makes it far more convincing, I think. And if you believe, as I do, that this might have been a weapons vector gone awry, not deliberately released, but in development and then somehow leaked, this has turned out to be the greatest weapon in history, Asher said during a panel discussion at this panel thing. Okay, you've taken out 15 to 20% of the global GDP. You've killed millions of people. The Chinese population has barely been affected. Their economies roared back, being number one in the entire G12. Yeah. It's an interesting thought. It's one of those things where. So there was basically several different theories about how nasty this potentially was, right? In terms of culpability of the Chinese. The first thought was that, the most innocent thought was that it was just this naturally occurring virus that they caught in in what they call the wet market, right? Which is the animal market, where people would buy food. Live animals were there and stuff like that. Weird animals. And you remember all the bat jokes, bat soup, eating bats and stuff like that. But very quickly, there were people that came from China that said, no, this came from the Wuhan lab over there. And there was a lot of speculation because...
Well, I heard one guy was killed after he tried to warn people there is a virus escape. And he tried to do this back in 2019, I think, the end of the year.
Yeah, I think there may have been several people killed, actually, who maybe wanted to warn people who the Chinese government thought maybe could spill the beans. They're trying to quiet people up. So, but the original, the sort of like the least culpable theory was that it came from this food market. And then the next theory was that, well, maybe they had this virus in the lab and they were working on it and it escaped. And then the next worst theory was that it might have been a virus that had been engineered in some way, somehow modified by the lab scientists. And then another theory was that it was completely developed by the lab scientists and it was like an artificial virus or something like that. And then so there were all these different kind of various theories that people had. And one theory was that it was a bioweapon. And so now you go from having a bioweapon, which I thought was actually the most insidious theory, to not the most insidious theory, but in the realm of the most insidious theories. And then the absolute most insidious theory was that it was a bioweapon that was intentionally released. So that's what some people actually think that. Now, that's not what this guy's saying. He's not saying that it was intentionally released. But his theory is that it was a bioweapon that was being developed in this lab on orders of the Chinese military, and that it accidentally was released. So that it was somehow manipulated by the lab scientists to make it deadlier than your just typical flu or your typical coronavirus, which, is very possible. And if this guy thinks so, I believe it, because this guy, to me, this guy is, I mean, we're just reading one article here, but I think Fox News is legit. I think this guy seems legit, and I believe it. So this, this implicates China in something far worse, far more sinister than we have ever really realized before. And the theory is being validated by somebody who is, who's fairly significant here.
Well, I know for sure that this live stream is going to be demonetized completely.
I mentioned COVID too often. All right. Well, do you have any thoughts on this subject now that we've already been demonetized?
I already said that we kind of knew that way back.
Well, you're a little bit more cynical than I am. So you're willing to believe kind of the worst immediately. Anytime you hear a rumor.
Russians, we kind of like, we hope for the best, but we prepare for the worst.
Yeah, but you kind of always expect. I try to keep an open mind, and I try to be a little bit more positive. Philip, what do you think? Are you more positive? Are you more like Blair? Are you more cynical?
Well, I'm being more like realistic, I think. I don't think it was I don't think it was like an accident.
Oh, you're actually going so far as to say they intentionally released it.
Or if that would be an accident, you can at least warn people.
It doesn't really make sense that it was intentional, though, because, people in China were dying first. If it was intentional, it's weird to...
Chinese communist government care about its own citizens?
No, I don't think that they necessarily do. However, it's not the most efficient or optimal way to deliver a virus to the rest of the world. You would have wanted to like release it somewhere like Brazil or something and let it spread. You wouldn't have wanted to infect your own people first. It just doesn't make any sense.
You infect Chinese people first, then they go to celebrate Chinese New Year in America, and here you go.
It's not what happened.
Okay. That's one of the theory how virus get here.
Yeah, we will fight about this later after the show. All right, so shall we move on to the next story, Miss Cynical?
Okay.
All right.
Professor forced to undergo, again, cannot pronounce words, sorry. Didn't read headlines.
Right.
Professor forced to undergo sensitivity training for mentioning Tupac album.
You got it perfectly right. Every word was perfectly pronounced. Pronounced perfectly.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah, this is true. This is a weird thing. And not only that, but campus reform has a similar story, and I'm going to go over the other one. But so this teacher... But here's the really weird thing. This is like an African studies teacher. So I'm guessing that she's some kind of a leftist. But because she mentioned the letters all, the first letter of each word reads out Nigga. I'll read it. Let me just read the article. Okay, so yes, this woman's got to undergo mandatory training, sensitivity training. A professor at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, will undergo mandatory training after she referenced a Tupac album in class, which contained a racial slur. Let's see here. Blah 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 blah. Let's see here. So she wrote on the whiteboard, "Never ignorant about getting goals accomplished. Never ignorant about getting goals accomplished. Nigga." See, you get it?
Uh-huh.
But it's a Tupac thing, right? He did that. I think he would be happy that stuff's being taught at universities. Which is the name of a song and part of the album title by the renowned rap artist Tupac. Without context and the acronym alone, this word presents a very painful, derogatory one, that doesn't make any sense, that is not only uncomfortable, but also hurtful and troubling, she said, apologizing for any pain that the lecture caused. No. There's no hard R. It's not ER. It's A, right? It's like gangsta slang. Let's see here. Nunnally clarified that the incident, Nunnally is, I think, the head of that particular department, African Studies, who's making this woman undergo this brainwashing or whatever. Nunnally clarified that the incident occurred in the context of a discussion about Tupac. Hargrove, who I believe is the teacher who is being punished here, also referenced another acronym, the hate you give little infants, and then the F word, which I guess is thug life. We can say that. We can say thug life, I think. There's nothing racist about that, right? I don't think. Am I going to get canceled? Let's hope not. Another statement from the university likewise clarified that Hargrove did not say the racial epithet. Anyway, the point is just that clearly everybody is so unbelievably sensitive that we can't even talk about rap albums because they often reference the Nigga, they often reference that. So you can't even reference it. Even in writing, you can't reference it. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, she's obviously like sensitive to black people. I mean, she's the African Studies teacher. All right. But this article drew me to another article that it's kind of a similar thing. A law professor says that he was forced to undergo lengthy mental examinations and drug tests after an exam question caused students distress. So this guy's in the University of Illinois, Chicago. So this guy is a law professor. So he was specifically, okay, according to the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education, which defends the legal right to free expression for college students and faculty members, law professor Jason Kilborn created a hypothetical fact pattern in a mock employment discrimination case for his final exam. Now, this is really critical. If you're entering the law, the world of lawyering, right? If you want to be an attorney, these are the kinds of things that you're going to have to deal with in real life. So for a professor not to be able to teach this sort of thing in his class, I mean, how are you supposed to prepare students for real life if you're not allowed to talk about real life? This kind of stuff happens. It's really weird. The fact pattern referred to a profane expression for African Americans and women identified as expurgated, which I don't actually know what that word means. I have to look that up. Expurgated text, N dash 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 dash, you all know what it is, and B dash 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 dash, which I believe there's a T and a C and an H in there somewhere, is what I'm guessing. So anyway, 400 people signed a petition to condemn Kilborn's actions. How dare you teach kids about real life in school? Disgusting. I mean, these kids are they're in law school. They're not children. They're grown-ups. They can handle the fact that people occasionally say the N-word in real life. I mean, it does happen in the world. I'm sorry, guys. That's reality. But anyway, it's ridiculous. I mean, God, we're getting into crazy town. The world's becoming insane. Anyway, do you have anything to mention? Please don't say the N-word. We're going to get in such trouble. I know you love it. I know.
No, I never said that.
I'm kidding. I'm teasing you, darling. I'm teasing you.
I'll beat you later.
Yes, you will. All right. Shall we move on to the next story?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it.
Democrat judge arrested for child pornography. What a surprise.
Yeah, what a surprise. I'll tell you what, I really didn't want to cover this story, but
well, there is recently so many news about child pornography. First one, yesterday I heard that Russia is gonna ban Twitter in Russia if they won't remove children pornography from there. You remember there was like couple moments when Twitter wouldn't remove some child
Twitter's so weird. It's like you can't say the election was stolen, but you can post child pornography. The priorities of the left are all messed up.
Demi Lovato just said that she was raped at age 15 working for Disney.
Yeah.
And actor wasn't fired.
Oh, fascinating.
It's like
okay, by another actor then. By another actor. She was raped by another actor.
Yeah. Somebody who was on Netflix also.
Well, let's go ahead and read some of this article. So, Democrat Wisconsin judge arrested with 7 child pornography counts. Now, this is the weird thing. So that what I think is actually the Federalist posted this article. I think actually the main story here is kind of buried at the end. What do they say? Burying the headline? Burying the... Anyway. Mm-hmm. Down there, here at the bottom, it says... Where is it? Okay. All right. The guy lives with his husband and 2 kids. So he's a gay man who has either had kids with a woman, or his husband's had kids with a woman, or he's adopted 2 kids, but somehow he's got children. And he's posting these pictures of I don't know. This is messed up. All right. A 38-year-old Democratic judge was arrested on Tuesday in Wisconsin for 7 felony counts of possessing child pornography, according to the state's Justice Department. Brett Bloom, or Blom or something. I don't really. Blom? I don't know. Blom doesn't sound right. That just sounds vulgar. Let's see. Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge is facing a Class D felonies after a thorough investigation was performed by authorities in both Minnesota and Wisconsin. Blom used the Kick Messenger app to store the content, which authorities tracked between the months of October and November. The judge was apprehended in Dane County on Friday. A division of criminal investigation unit filed a 44-page search warrant. Investigators learned that Blom uploaded 27 total child pornographic videos and images to Kick using the pseudonym Dobe Master BB. Dom Master BB. I guess that's dominant. Like with like some of this weird sex stuff. Philip, you know about this stuff. Why aren't you on the show? Let's see here. To conceal his identity, 2 of these files were being stored in a government building in Milwaukee County. Anyway, so then they go on to talk about how he was arrested and all this kind of stuff. But this is the part that got really weird for me. I mean, it's all obviously very, very weird. But I thought this was kind of funny. Let's see here. Blome previously served as head of the Cream City Foundation, an organization that gives grant funding to Milwaukee LGBTQ groups, as well as directed a gift-giving foundation at the Wisconsin AIDS Research Center. He lives with his husband and 2 kids. Now, I hate to make jokes when we're talking about child pornography because this is pretty gross stuff, but the Cream City Foundation is an LGBTQ group. That is horrible. I mean, of all the names of your organization, now I assume that the reason it's called Cream City, it just sounds so vulgar, is that it's from Milwaukee, right? And Milwaukee is known for their dairy products. But like in the modern era, with all the sick, twisted stuff going on, they really got to change the name of that organization. The Cream City Foundation. It's almost like they're trying to make it funny. It's almost like they're trying to make it a joke. But anyway, all this is very disturbing. But the reason I decided to go ahead and talk about this story, even though it was an incredibly disturbing story, is that in like last year, there started to circulate on Twitter and around the internet this massive list. This is from News Punch. I have no idea if this is a valid website or a news site. This is the first thing I found when I looked it up. But this is the list. I've seen this all over the internet. Massive list of Democrats involved in sex crimes against children goes viral. An enormous list of Democrats, including elected officials who have been involved in sex crimes against children, has gone viral on the internet as America continues to wake up to the pedophile epidemic sweeping the nation. 800,000 children a year in the United States go missing, blah, 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 blah. They're talking about satanic and ritual abuse. So the reason I don't tend to talk about this kind of stuff is it kind of feeds into the Q stuff about Satanism and that all Democrats are pedophiles, and I just don't believe any of that. Like I don't believe that like Nancy Pelosi has anything to do with pedophilia. But there's so many Democrats that are women, and women don't tend to be sexual abusers so much. So I just don't.
Well, what about Ghislaine Maxwell sending this teenage girls
right.
to?
I said don't tend to be. I didn't say it's impossible. I mean,
okay.
Certainly there are instances, but like, I don't know how accurate this list is, or if this is but like, look how long this list is. It's crazy. And this is the list I think that I've seen going around the internet. And I mean, if you just look at like the first few things, like Democrat aide to Senator Barbara Boxer, I mean, that's pretty, that's a pretty high up, pretty important job to be an aide to Barbara Boxer. She's a very important person. Obviously Epstein, Anthony Weiner, we know that. Harvey Weinstein, we know that. Yeah, we know about those. But there are Democrat governor of Oregon, Neil Goldschmidt, after being caught by a newspaper. I didn't actually know that about Neil Goldschmidt. I met him. I met him when I was a kid. Yeah. We went on a school trip to the governor's, the Capitol building in Salem, Oregon.
Ashley says they should call it the Lavender Club.
The Lavender Club. That's a reference from yesterday, because there's in what is it? Columbia University is having multiple graduations. Multiple graduations based on different demographic groupings. So if you're black, or if you're Latino, or if you're Asian, or if you're gay, they have different graduations for everybody. And the gay one is called the Lavender Ceremony. Which I
Okay,
just thought was
Daniel
hilarious.
is giving us money again.
Oh no, Daniel, stop! Please, just write our name in there. We'll see you. We'll see you. What does he got to say? Let's hear it.
Tim was having a religious discussion with Ian, and Jack tonight. It started going off the rails because none of them are religious. Here is money! Exclamation mark.
I love that guy. Hold on, I can't see it on mine. Mine's loading all the previous comments. You're gonna have to give me a second. All right, this is taking too long. Yeah.
There is an interesting article pop up on my newsfeed on my phone.
Hit me.
Citigroup, Wells Fargo, Bank of America urge shareholders to vote against racial equity audits. Bank says they're already doing enough to address equity issues.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so Daniel says Tim was having a religious discussion with Ian and Jack tonight. It started going off the rails because none of them are religious. Here's money. Yeah, it's always a bit cringy when atheists talk about religion, because it's almost always just, religion is stupid and religious people are stupid.
Well, my atheist friend says that religious people always like starting wars and stuff for the name of religion.
Yeah, the atheists always say this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said. That's what she said.
That's what she said. Well, they always say that, but the most vicious countries always tend to be atheist countries. Like I think China's an atheist country officially. USSR was an atheist country. And your grandmother had to, isn't that right? Your grandmother was like a quietly religious during the, no? It might have been one of my exes.
I didn't ask her about that.
You haven't asked her about it? I thought she was somewhat religious.
She is religious now, I would say.
A lot of the people who were religious during the USSR times, they had to do it, they had to do it underground. They had to be religious. They had to do, perform their religious ceremonies and go to church and all that kind of stuff, like in basements and secretly. There was actually a family that moved out to Siberia, and they were lost for like decades, and then some of the kids were born completely outside civilization, and they lived there for years and years and years. And then I think the wife had died, and then some Soviet scientists found them many, many years later, and they tried to reintroduce them back into society. And the father said that the one thing that he missed the most was salt, because he couldn't get salt out where he lived. And they all ended up dying. I think they all ended up dying because they couldn't. There's something about bringing them back into civilization didn't work. They were fascinated by TV apparently, and they all prayed after watching it because they thought maybe it was evil. But yeah. Anyway, atheism does some messed up things. Anyway, all right. So shall we move on to the next story?
Yeah. Governor DeSantis rejects call to return relief funds.
Yeah, so this isn't our normal kind of story where we just make fun of leftists and laugh at them and talk about the ridiculous state of the world today. This is actually kind of a nuanced story. So Rick Scott has been telling everybody that they should return all of the money that they get from the federal government because it's like wasteful and ridiculous. But DeSantis makes a really good point. So let me read some of this. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis rejected a suggestion by a fellow Republican, Rick Scott, for governors and mayors to return funds from the $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief legislation, Politico reported. When asked about Scott's recommendation, DeSantis said, it doesn't make any sense. He explained if Florida were to send the money back, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is going to send it to Illinois, California, New York, New Jersey. I don't think that it would make sense for Floridians for us to be giving even more money to the blue states that have already been that are already getting such a big windfall in this bill. And then it goes on and talks about it. But I just wanted to mention that point. I just felt like that was a really good point. Like,
so do we have to return our stimulus money back?
We probably should, yeah. But I mean, it's a good point because, conservatives should have as much of the money as possible. If the federal government's going to waste money, they might as well waste it on conservatives because we're going to spend it a lot better than Democrats ever could in terms of like, Republican politicians. the federal government is completely run by Democrats now. So the more money they have of ours, the worse it is. And the more money they're giving to Democrat states, the worse it is. So, let's try to, get as much of that 1.9 million into conservative states as possible, because they're going to do a lot better job with it, I think, than the Democrats will be able to. Anyway, so I think DeSantis has a really good point there. But it's one of those nuanced discussions that you have within the Republican Party. And that's how politics should be. We should be talking about nuanced things as opposed to these just like everything that the left does is ridiculous. They point to conservatives, they say you're evil bigots, and then they do all this like weird, crazy stuff with the environment because they're engineering this hysteria so that they can push a bunch of money to like green companies. And I mean, the whole thing is just a nightmare right now. The whole thing is just crazy. Shall we read the last story?
We have a couple super chats. One from our friend from Scotland.
Our friend
again.
All right, Philip. Let's have a look at this.
Oh, you just mentioned his name.
I know. I've been mentioning his name. Oh, I've only seen the one from Andrew Bewart. Oh no, I do see both of them. Andrew Bewart says, "Hi, love the show," and we love you, Andrew. Thank you so much for watching. I was almost named Andrew. My parents were going to name me Andrew.
I was almost named Yulia,
which is really weird because that's the other girl that I was going to marry.
Here you go.
Before I met Valeria.
Here you go. Yeah, that's what.
True that. God, we got very, very few views today. Very few.
Oh, we got one dislike. That's not. Come on,
We've
man.
Never had a dislike before.
Who did98
playbacks. That's so weird. It's usually like over 1,000. I don't know what's going on today, guys.
Why did we get one dislike? I'm upset.
A Democrat accidentally clicked on our channel. Let's see here. The Uncanny X-Man writes, communism and Nazi ideology filled the void that the lack of religion left. Do you think that... Well, that's an interesting point. I don't know... Yeah, maybe to some degree. But I think that Nazism and communism tended to push out religion a lot of the time. Like that was... So I think that it was a reaction to a more secular world that then actually tried... the consequence of that was to make the world even more secular. Although there was always a kind of pushback when something like that happens. But certainly because of a theory of evolution and higher quality of life, people didn't feel like they needed God so much, and certainly the world became more... I mean, this is a big discussion we could have. Uncanny X-Man. You know what it sounds like when you say you're the Uncanny X-Man? It sounds like you're transitioning. He's the X-Man. He used to be a man. Maybe not so much anymore. Get it? I don't think Valeria understands the joke. That happens occasionally between us. Okay, shall we move on to the last story?
Of course.
All right.
Oh, no, not her. Kamala Harris bashes the U.S. White hosting Ireland's prime minister.
Yeah. So, it's not quite as bad as it sounds, but it's not great.
I don't understand the word bashes.
Bashes means like, she basically says America's crap.
No, yes.
But she's not saying that because the left is so crazy. She's saying that because she's like, we have all these white, right-wing, racist, white people. Kamala Harris, let's see here. Do we have the... Yeah. Kamala Harris hosts Prime Minister of Ireland for bilateral meeting, trashes America as a violent and racist country. This is true. This is what she said. Now, I'm not going to read this name because I can't pronounce whatever the hell this is.
What?
Yeah. Toy Seach? I don't know. It's Irish. Irisher.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway. It's a Gaelic name, it sounds like. So, Kamala Harris on Wednesday hosted the Prime Minister of Ireland for a bilateral meeting, and she kicked off the virtual conference by trashing America as a violent and racist country. Harris started the meeting off by bringing up the mass shooting in Atlanta that left a total of 8 people dead, including 6 Asian women. But this is actually a really good story because I hadn't actually read what his motivation was, but it talks about it in this story. Have you heard this?
About shooting?
Yeah.
8, yeah.
Yeah, but did you hear what he said his motivation was? It had nothing to do with Asian women or being racist. He said he was a sex addict, and these different places indulged his, his addiction, and so he was trying to eliminate the people who were, I guess, leading him into this sinful lifestyle.
That was a massage salon, right?
Yeah, the massage parlors. I guess they were like brothels. They would. Yeah. So let's see here. We don't have all the facts yet, but sorry, I was quoting Kamala because she said this kind of something similar, but this is actually just the reporter, so I won't make a funny voice. Okay, we don't have all the facts yet, but Kamala Harris has already jumped to conclusions and determined that the shooter targeted the massage parlors in a hate crime against Asians. It's not quite what she said, but yeah, I mean, she kind of does that. Let's see here. Preliminary reports indicate that the shooter, 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long, was a sex addict. The suspect told police that he's a sex addict and he wanted to eliminate locations he saw as temptations for his sex addiction. But Harris trashed America as a violent and racist country to kick off her meeting with the Irish Prime Minister, whose name I will not read. Let's see here. Kamala Harris is the most unwanted, unpopular VP in history, but she acted like the whole... Acted like a whole... I don't know why. I can't read today. I don't know. Acted like a woke social justice warrior in a meeting with a foreign leader. How is this appropriate? At one point, the Prime Minister of Ireland accidentally referred to Kamala Harris as president, then quickly corrected himself and said, Madam Vice President. Well, let's go ahead and play this clip because I think this is actually kind of important.
I'm going to just say a few words about an incident that is occurring, a horrible incident in our country, and then we're going to begin our conversation. But before I begin, I do want to talk about what happened in Georgia, in Atlanta. It is tragic. Our country, the president and I and all of us, we grieve for the loss. Our prayers are extended to the families of those who have been killed. And it speaks to a larger issue, which is the issue of violence in our country and what we must do to never tolerate it and to always speak out against it. The investigation is ongoing. We don't yet know, we're not yet clear about the motive, but I do want to say to our Asian American community that we stand with you and understand how this has frightened and shocked and outraged all people, but knowing the increasing level of hate crime against our Asian American brothers and sisters. We also want to speak out in solidarity with them and acknowledge that none of us should ever be silent in the face of any form of hate. And with that, I am very excited to speak with the Taoiseach and to meet you this morning. Good morning. I am Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States.
America is the most horrible, racist country in the world, and I hate everything about it, and I am so sorry that our country is so evil. But I'm so happy to meet you, Mr. President of Ireland. Well, not President, Vice, whatever it is, Prime Minister, but, I mean, what a wretched, horrible woman.
If she thinks that America racist country, she might want to visit Russia.
Yeah, or lots of different countries. Ireland.
Well, I can speak about Russia.
Mm-hmm.
I can speak about other countries. Well, I don't understand how can you say that America is racist.
It's political theater. It's just like they're trying to create a sort of brand. They're trying to create an image because they need something to fight against. Democrats always need to make their constituents afraid and outraged, and they're trying to create this atmosphere of negativity that because they need to be the saviors, right? If they're there to save us, but there's nothing to save us from, then why do we need them, right? Democrats are criminals. That's how I think of them. They want to be able to do whatever they want to do, and they want people to kind of ignore that they're committing crimes and they're doing this kind of shady stuff because, well, we need them because they're here to protect us and make America less racist and in a much better country. I mean, it is in their best interest to convince the rest of the, to convince the country and the rest of the world that America has all these horrible problems because they're the ones there to fix it. But it's absolute baloney. I mean, I until I read this article, I had no idea that the guy had actually admitted to his motivation already. So this idea that the investigation is ongoing, to me, this is the most outrageous part of this. That all these leftists, the leftist media, these leftist politicians, none of them are accepting the motivation that the shooter actually expressed himself. They're all saying, oh, well, because some of the people that were killed were Asian, it must be crime. I mean, they desperately want this to be a racist crime. They desperately want it to be a racist crime.
And second of all, I never seen a massage salon without Asians. Sorry.
Is that true? I've never. I don't go to that many massage places.
Usually it's Asians, Thailand.
I've only been to 2 massage places. Both of them were with you, but
Asian.
one of them was Asians, but the other one I don't think was. The second one wasn't. The one downtown here.
Yeah.
No. So we've been to one
were,
place without Asians. They're like white American girls.
Yeah, from here.
But
well, I think most of the massage salons.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And obviously these were places where this guy wasn't getting just massages though. These weren't really massage places. I don't understand. I mean, okay, yeah, I do understand. I understand why the left is doing it, but it's outrageous that they're doing it. It's ridiculous that they're doing it. If the guy says, I did this because, and I think 2 of the women that died were white, right? Were killed were white because
they can say it was by accident.
It said 8 people were killed and 6 of them were Asian. So obviously this guy wasn't specifically targeting Asians. Why would he have killed 2 random other girls?
By accident. Tried to kill Asians.
They looked Asian-y. No, I take this guy at his word. I think that this probably is what happened. He probably did have this kind of like issue where he wanted to get out of this lifestyle and he felt frustrated. And some people react in ways that are, mind-boggling. I mean, it's just like a crazy thing to do. But, obviously the guy had an issue. He didn't know where to go. He felt trapped. He felt some kind of problem. And he killed people because of that. This is one of those terrible things that happen in the world. But to take that and then to try to manipulate it into something so that they can use it for political gain, to me, that is sick. That is twisted. They're actually, it's so funny because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and all these, ridiculous puppet morons, they're always coming out going, we want unity. The country needs unity. We need unity. But they don't want unity. They want obedience. They want submission. And when they say stuff like this is the most divisive thing they could possibly say. Because the truth is, all of these, because there are a lot of attacks on Asians going on right now, but they're all from black people. All of the attacks, every single one of them, except for one that I could find. And that was by like a person with a mental problem, I think. A white guy with a mental problem. But almost all the other attacks have the bullying and the harassment, especially like the attacks on old people, old Asian people. Mm-hmm. It's all black people. It's all black people. And in fact, there's articles been written, which we covered on the show, I think, about how the Asian community is becoming racist against black people because of all these attacks. And the article was like, but Asians shouldn't be racist against black people. We should get along, Asians and black people. But it's like, if there's one particular group that keeps attacking everybody from your group, yeah, naturally, some of the people are going to get pissed off and they're going to become a little bit antagonistic toward the people from, the group that's attacking them. So, I mean, that article was just ridiculous, first of all. But the article sort of incidentally acknowledges that, yeah, all these attacks are happening from black people, black men specifically. But, like, the Democrats will not acknowledge this. They keep wanting to shift the blame to Trump supporters and like white racists, white supremacists, people like that. This just isn't happening. White people just aren't going around hurting Asians because of the coronavirus thing, because of Donald Trump or whatever it is that they've invented. But because this guy went out and he shot some people, some of them were Asian women, right? This fit the narrative perfectly for them. Unfortunately for the Democrats, it's not true. Their invented narrative is not supported by this guy's shooting. This guy's shooting is indeed a tragedy. It's terrible, and we should look at it for what it is and exactly what happened with this guy, right? We should probably try to stop, these situations where we have these illegal brothels popping up here and there, and maybe the police should target those and try to stop that from happening so that they, guys like him don't get into this situation. Guys, I don't know what his, maybe he has some kind of a, obviously there's something wrong
Why
with
they
him.
didn't ask him who did he vote in 2020?
I have no idea. I have no idea. But it's totally irrelevant.
But they still didn't say like, oh, it's a Trump supporter. Did they say that?
So you think maybe he's a Democrat because they didn't say he's a Trump supporter? Look, the truth is it's irrelevant. I don't mind that they're not covering that, but you're right. If he is a Democrat, then that would kind of hurt them as well. But it's so messed up that they have to politicize everything. They have to try to exploit every single tragedy that ever happens for political gain. The Democrats are twisted people. I'm telling you, it is messed up. Those people need to get
I'm
voted out
surprised
of
Kamala
office.
Harris didn't say, "Oh, I feel so terrible, it's so bad because I'm also Asian." Because she claimed it in the past, right?
No. Well, she is.
She did.
She
She
is Asian.
She's a quarter Asian, quarter of everything.
Well,
so.
she's Asian if you will say that Indians are Asian, right? So like
Indian, Asian, African American.
well, but in India, if you're from India, right, that's in the continent of Asia, and if you're from the UK, they actually call people from India Asian. I don't know what they call Japanese people. Maybe Oriental. I think they just call everybody that looks East Asian. Like
I remember articles even way before she said like half black or quarter black.
If she's from India, then she's her family's from the continent of Asia,
Okay.
so that's technically correct. But she's not Asian like Chinese. She's not Chinese. She's not Chinese. But anyway.
Can I claim that I'm Asian because Russia have like half European,
Sure.
half Asian continent?
Sure.
Can I?
Yeah.
I know I was born in the European part. I would live there, but it's Russia.
That's right. Russia crosses. You're just Russia's very multicultural. It's half European, half Asian.
Yes. See?
All right. I think we're done with the stories. Are we done with the stories? Is that the last one?
We are done.
All right, we can move on to the Q&A if you guys have any questions or comments. If we don't have any questions or comments, I'll tell you the story that I was going to tell you at the beginning of the show that Valeria's going to love hearing.
No.
We've got 8 minutes. Yeah,
I don't like when I don't know what you're going to say
you like this story.
about me.
This is a funny story about how Valeria is as a wife. And actually, this is back before we got married. So this is more as she's a girl. Well, one of the stories is before we got married, and one of the stories is after we got married.
Okay.
So Valeria likes to make like practical jokes, kind of. It's a weird thing. So like, we're dating, we're a couple, we've been together for some time, and we're walking around Santa Monica, and you remember this? You know what I'm gonna say? Okay. So we get to this street corner, and there's a couple at the street corner, like another couple, and they're kind of cozying up to each other, and like obviously like dating, So Valeria kind of comes up to me and cozies up to me, so I like give her a kiss on the head or something like that. And as I kiss her on the head, she backs off from me with like this weird look, like what the hell's going on? And I'm like, what? And she goes. And the couple notice something's going on, so they turn around. And she goes, you guys might want to watch out. There's this guy here that's going around kissing people randomly, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what you said, but it was horrible. It was horrible. I was just thinking, oh man, these couple now thinks I'm some kind of maniac, and I just start laughing. Naturally, I start laughing. And this couple is looking at me, and they're looking at her, and they're looking at me, and they clearly don't know if she was joking or if I'm really a maniac. And that confusion just made it all the funnier. And I just could not stop laughing. And then a while later, I don't know, it's a few months later, I don't know if you guys have, the Alexa thing Alexa, never mind. Anyway, but oh no, it was Siri. It was Siri. So I was talking to Siri on my iPhone, and she was like, she wasn't doing what I was telling her to do, which I'm sure you all had that frustration. And I yell at her. I was with my roommate, this girl Victoria, and Valeria was in the other room. And I yell at Siri, just kind of jokingly. I'm like, do what I tell you, bitch, or something like that, right? Just being kind of stupid. And as soon as I said this, Valeria comes running out of the bedroom, and she goes, "Did you call my name?" And Victoria, who I'm with, oh man, it was terrible. It was terrible. And then, so I start laughing, and then Valeria says, "Are you calling some other girl by my name?" And then she walks sadly into the bedroom. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. Anyway, so that's what it's like being married to Valeria. And yeah, well, Victoria figured out that it was a joke, but she, and so she was laughing, obviously. But she did warn us a little bit. I think she said something like, "Chris, you can't let her make jokes like that around other people. Like, around me, it's okay, but around other people, it might be a problem." And now I'm talking to everybody in YouTube world about the situation. But just so you know, it was a joke. Right? No? That's what I call you regularly? Yeah.
Help me. Help me.
See, she's cruel. She's cruel and terrible. All right. Has anybody said anything? Should we read anybody's questions or comments?
Well, I like this question. So, Valeria technically Asian? Am I technically Asian?
Yes. Valeria is technically half Asian. She's mixed race, we like to call her. And 1% Jewish. As she likes to remind me all the time. I don't really understand why that's such a point of pride for you. I guess because it's the only thing she has that's not just pure white European. But you're like, otherwise you're like 99.9% Russian, right?
92.
What is the rest of it?
Ukrainian, Polish.
Ukrainian and Polish. Oh, did this change? Because I remember when you first took it, it was
change.
Like it was always that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're basically just Russian. You are as Russian as they get. Let's see here. What are both your top 3 favorite bands in music?
Yeah,
that's interesting. Well, I can tell you what I'm listening to now.
Russian, Asian, Jew. That's even better. Now I'm gonna call myself Asian Jew.
What are your favorite? When I was growing up, my favorite band was the Beach Boys. When I was a little boy, I used to listen to the Beach Boys all the time. It was the only band I liked.
My band?
Yeah. What do you like? What's your music?
Random pop music.
Random. Okay. Well, I can tell you what's on my Spotify that's been added recently. Let's have a look at this, because my music stuff always changes. Most recently, I've been listening to DJ T-Rock and Squashy Nice. Should look up that team of musicians.
Well,
good.
my favorite songs like changes basically every week, 2 weeks.
She likes the pop, the modern.
I do.
That's like whatever
true.
is the mainstream pop music she likes. I occasionally find her singing Cardi B. It's very disturbing. Danger Mouse. I'm a big fan of Danger Mouse. Let's see here. Let me look at my liked songs. How's that? Good evening. Good evening. Yes. And then there's some older stuff like the Crystal Method. Oh, I've been introduced to I don't know if this is a band or just 2 people or something. It's called the Coleman Brothers. Coleman Brothers. Colman Brothers. It's kind of like jazz, but it's very cool. It's like very good. I'll be in the shower and I'll play a Coleman Brothers. They're quite good. The Avalanches. Who doesn't like the Avalanches? I've been listening to a little Beastie Boys. You know, I found a new song from Beastie Boys called Flute Loop. Flute Loop. I'd never heard it. My whole life I never heard it. I just found out about it like a month ago. And if you haven't heard Flute Loop by Beastie Boys, That's an amazing song. You gotta check that out.
Okay, can I finally mention my ex because you already mentioned it twice? Carrie Ann says, "I used to love George Michael, great voice. My ex loved George."
Yeah,
Michael.
that's true. Your ex loved George Michael. That's true. Oh, by the way, this is a great band. Saint Motel. If you haven't heard Saint Motel, I highly recommend looking them up. And in fact, Saint Motel is more or less the music that we were listening to when we were in Hawaii, visiting Hawaii. So now if I ever play Saint Motel music while I'm working or something, we're like, we miss Hawaii.
I do actually. I really want to go back.
Abso Facto. Highly recommend Abso Facto. Great music. Phenomenal. Yeah, some oldies. I got some oldies on here from like the 60s. And yeah, good stuff. Anyway, that's the stuff I've been listening to lately. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Anyway, so now you know Chris's musical taste, which...
My taste is terrible, so I'm not even gonna...
Yeah, that's true. That's true. She's got terrible taste in music. Somebody said that Kiwana Hurt says that they liked George Michael back in the day. I've never been a big George Michael fan. One of my exes liked George Michael. Faith, the song Faith. There's a good remix version of Faith. From I think it's from Fatboy Slim. I think Fatboy Slim did a George Michael remix.
Palmetto Paratrooper, your ex was a closet gay. It's about my ex because he liked George Michael.
Closet gay. Valeria actually does occasionally
My ex
suspect...
was saying like, oh, that's such a shame. He was a gay because his talent wasn't in his children,
George
you know.
Michael.
Yeah, like something like this. And guys, I tell you that after we broke up, it's been more than 3 years. He's still not married, no girlfriend. So I suspect.
But he did try to get with one of your friends, Elena, right?
Yeah.
So not gay, but he doesn't speak English, which is really weird.
I mean,
it's gonna be difficult
now,
for him to find a woman.
Well, I'm sure. The problem is he's not trying to find a woman. He's trying to find a Russian slave.
Yeah. Valeria often says that I rescued her from her situation, which I'll take that. I'll take that.
Okay.
Yankee the Rebel keeps trying to make Aston
Cam
a-hole jokes.
Oh, okay.
Because of yesterday.
Don't call his name because he's sleeping somewhere.
Yesterday. He's not sleeping, but he's like chill. He's just like hanging out.
It's been a second day. He was like yesterday. He was slightly.
He must be
loud.
getting used to this.
Because he's like, okay, now I need to shut up, or they will lock me in the bathroom again.
Yes, maybe he knows.
He may be training.
Maybe he's
like,
finally
okay,
figured
I
it
need
out.
like.
Let me think if I have any more excellent Valeria stories. We should probably.
Ram Baker. I married a Russian Jew. I had to get rid of her.
I married a Russian Jew. I had to get rid of her. We actually, let's see. So one of our friends, how Jewish is Elena?
99.9%.
Is she really like fully Jewish?
I actually 3 days ago we had like a girls meeting with other friend, and I was like, Elena, I just want to buy a DNA test for you just to see, because she is convinced that she has some percent of African something like.
Why?
I was like,
why does she?
I'm gonna buy you DNA test.
Wait. Why does she think she's black? She's not. She doesn't look black at all.
No, but good morning.
Oh, there we go. He's woken
Are we
up.
being too loud? I'm sorry. Okay.
Wanna come over?
He was like, I'm tired. Guys, can you be done with the show? So I think I'm gonna give her a DNA test for, I don't know, what's next coming. Some kind of birthday, Christmas, I don't know.
Oh, so she says she's 99.9, but...
I mean, I she said in Russian, shut up!
We're just talking about it. Yeah, this is the most we've ever talked about Elena on the show. Let's just keep talking about her. Hey, buddy. Hey, you want to say hi to the audience? Hold on. Look. See, no, that's the lens there. That's America. He wants to stay a little bit off screen today, which is perfectly fine. All right, so are we done with the show?
Aston, are we done with the show? We are done with the
Okay,
show. Are we done with the show? Yes, please.
All right, guys.
That's okay. Okay, there is a remark from my friend, and it's just she wrote in Russian. Because Jewish were enslaved if in Ethiopia, that's why they might have some African DNA.
No, that's ridiculous.
Okay, please just shut up right now because
Let's
she's gonna get angry because you don't know anything. Okay?
Well, I know she's wrong.
She
I know that. Well, I'll tell you what. You go ahead and get her that DNA test.
now you're gonna buy her DNA test.
I'll buy it.
Awesome.
We'll buy her the DNA
Okay.
test. All right, guys. It has been awesome. You can all see Aston's back right now. And
he looks beautiful.
He looks beautiful.
You are in focus. That's a beautiful background. So, not background. Oh, here
foreground.
you
It'll be
go. Foreground.
foreground.
Okay.
Yeah. Focus foreground. All right, so we're gonna go. It's been fun hanging out with you guys for a little bit longer today, but yeah, it's been great. We've had a bit of fun, and we will see you again tomorrow and Friday, and then it's the weekend, and we can take a break. But I'll have another video up tomorrow. Actually, I think I'm going to post a video from Toxic Masculinity because we had a video that did pretty well. I separate these out and see how they do and post them. And we got Aston all over Valeria now. And this Milo Yiannopoulos being straight thing is like blowing up. So I'm going to go ahead and post that on my main channel, Mr. Reagan. I'm getting like just destroyed with views.
And by the way,
I'm getting like no views on.
She's a history teacher, so you might be wrong.
Oh, this is the other Elena.
No, that's my Elena.
What do you mean she's a history teacher?
She has a degree in history.
Oh, I didn't know that. Congratulations, Elena. I had no idea. That's very cool.
Okay.
Because you said it before, my friend's a history teacher, but I thought you meant somebody else.
No, she is.
Oh, I had no idea. Oh, that's very cool. Well,
should I say, I'm so sorry, Elena. You're right. You're always right.
You're still wrong.
Okay.
All right, we'll chat later. Okay, thanks, guys. And go ahead and say bye, Valeria.
Bye.
Go ahead and say bye, Aston.
Oh.
Okay, I guess he's tired. All right, guys, we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and we will see you